Have you ever felt like you're losing yourself in the effort to be seen? Like the more you share, the more you perform, the more invisible you actually become. There's a reason for that. Constant exposure drains your strength. Every moment spent trying to prove your worth to others is a moment stolen from your own transformation. Disappearing is not giving up. It's not weakness. Disappearing is the first step toward becoming untouchable, unshakable, invincible. The Stoics understood this long before the noise of the modern world. Marcus Aurelius, Epictetus, Seneca, they all practiced the art of turning inward. They believed that true power is not found in the spotlight, but in silence, not in validation, but in virtue, not in performance, but in presence. This video is not about hiding. It's about preparing, about retreating from the noise so you can return, or not, stronger than ever. The more you're exposed, the weaker you become. It begins slowly. A post here, a story there, a moment shared for approval. But over time it builds. And before you realize it, you're performing a version of yourself that isn't real. Constant exposure leads to emotional fragility. When every move you make is seen, judged, and compared, you begin to live for others. You begin to depend on their reactions to feel worthy. Comparison becomes your master. Validation becomes your drug. And silence becomes terrifying. Social media, for all its connection, has disconnected us from ourselves. It feeds the ego. It fuels anxiety. It scatters our attention across 1,000 empty things. You open your life to be seen, and in return, you lose the power to live it with intention. Seneca once said, "Nothing except time is truly ours, and yet we give it away so freely to others." Every scroll, every like, every reply, it's time, attention, and energy handed over to a world that will never be satisfied. We are spending everything we have and forgetting to invest in who we are. To disappear is not to retreat. It is to rise inwardly. In Stoic philosophy, disappearing is an act of strength. It is the deliberate choice to remove yourself from the noise, from the distractions, from the endless need to be seen. Silence is not emptiness. It is a training ground for the soul. In silence, you learn to observe your thoughts. You learn to master your emotions. You learn who you truly are without the influence of others. The Stoics called this self-sufficiency, autarky, the ability to live guided by reason and virtue, not applause or recognition. You do not need the crowd. You need clarity. You need discipline. You need purpose. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Everything we need to live a good life is already within us." You don't disappear to escape the world. You disappear to remember that you were never meant to belong to it. The first pillar of silent transformation is the art of disappearing. But disappearing doesn't mean quitting. It doesn't mean running away from life. It means stepping back from the noise and stepping into clarity. It's the bold decision to subtract the unnecessary, to stop living for approval and start living for alignment, to choose depth over display, privacy over performance. Begin by ending the constant broadcast of your life. You don't need to explain your next move. You don't need to announce your goals, your struggles, or your victories. That part of you, the part that craves being understood, must be quieted, not silenced by force, but disciplined by purpose. Epictetus once said, "We have 2 ears and 1 mouth for a reason. That reason is reflection. That reason is restraint. Speak less, listen more, and above all, listen inward. Your words carry energy. Every time you speak, you give a piece of that energy away. So guard your words. Use them with intention. Let your silence speak of strength. Let your actions whisper your transformation. Because here's the truth. The less you explain, the more you evolve. The more you withhold, the more you grow. In silence, your real thoughts begin to rise. In solitude, your real self begins to surface. The Stoics practiced this daily. Through journaling, they sharpened their awareness. Not for the world, but for themselves. Write your thoughts. Question your behavior. Challenge your beliefs. But keep that process sacred. Private. Yours. This is not withdrawal. This is not hiding. This is focus, refined and relentless. You're not disappearing because you're afraid to be seen. You're disappearing because you're done being distracted. You're building in silence. So when the time comes to emerge, if it ever does, you will be something the world has never seen. Unshaken, undeniable, unstoppable. The second pillar is the work in the shadows. This is where the real transformation begins. Not under lights, not on camera, not in front of an audience, but in silence, in solitude, in the quiet, hidden corners of your life where no one is watching and everything is being rebuilt. You must create a routine that becomes your sanctuary. A system so intentional, so obsessively focused that it leaves no room for distraction. Every hour must move you forward. Every choice must honor your future. Every breath must serve a purpose. Train your body with discipline, not for aesthetics, but for resilience. Sharpen your mind through stillness, not for recognition, but for clarity. Refine your soul with effort, not to be admired, but to be aligned. And above all, keep it to yourself. Your journey is not a performance. It is a private contract between who you are now and who you are becoming. You don't need to post your grind. You don't need to announce your discipline. Let the silence carry your progress. Solitude is not a curse. It is a forge. In solitude, distractions dissolve. In solitude, you face yourself without filters, without applause. You fall. You reflect. You rise. This is how Seneca lived. Each night, before rest, he examined his soul. He asked himself, what did I do right today? What did I do wrong? What can I do better tomorrow? No audience, no validation, just brutal honesty and quiet refinement. This is mastery, built one invisible brick at a time. And the world may never see it, but you will feel it in how you walk, in how you speak, in how unshakable you've become. You don't need anyone to notice. The progress is real because you lived it, not because you posted it. So build in the dark. Let your habits be louder than your words. Let your discipline echo in silence. And let the world wonder how you did it, while you keep doing it. The third pillar is the return without attachment. This is where everything changes, not because the world finally sees you, but because you no longer need to be seen. The goal was never glory. The goal was never applause. The goal is peace. A peace so deep that neither praise nor criticism can shake it. A stillness so solid that the noise outside no longer enters. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "Do not expect things to happen as you wish. Wish for them to happen as they do, and your life will go well." This is the essence of Stoic detachment. It is the release of control over outcomes, and the full embrace of who you've become, regardless of who notices. You no longer chase validation. You no longer fear rejection. You've built something inside that cannot be seen, but also cannot be broken. If you return, if the world begins to take notice, it won't matter, because you're not performing anymore. You're not hungry for attention. You're not waiting for approval. You simply exist, whole, authentic, and aligned. And that is enough. Yes, people might see the change. They may ask what happened. They may be amazed by your transformation. But the truth is, you don't need their amazement, because long before they noticed, you had already earned the most important victory, the one that happens in silence, the one no one can take from you, the victory of becoming untouchable, not by rising above others, but by rising above the need for others. That's the return, not to the world, but to yourself. The power of living in the shadows is this. You begin to find the light within yourself. You no longer need to be seen to feel real. You no longer need to be praised to feel worthy. You discover a calm strength in silence and a steady fire in solitude. There's a deep peace that comes when you owe nothing to anyone but yourself. No explanations, no performance, no masks. You stop living for the world's expectations and start living by your own principles. You don't need an audience to be great. You only need to be honest with who you are and who you are becoming. As the Stoics taught, the greatest glory in living lies not in being admired, but in mastering yourself. In the shadows, you grow. In the silence, you transform. And when you emerge, or even if you never do, you'll know you've already won. Disappear. Work in silence. Return or don't, but transform no matter what. Your journey is not about being seen. It's about becoming. Not louder, not brighter, but stronger, wiser, free. If you're serious about mastering your mind and living with purpose, make sure to like this video, follow the channel, and explore the videos in the description below. Your transformation begins now.